I really did not want to have to make this video, but
I've always said that I'm open to opposition to my videos, and in fact, I encourage it. I want people to show me where my logic is wrong.
you asked for it.
It is as if I set off a bomb in the YouTube atheist community regarding one of the most abhorrent acts against humanity, that is rape. Sadly, in the fallout, the message of my videos has been almost completely lost.
I'm sorry that you feel that your message was completely lost. I'm not sure if you're referring to my understanding of your message or perhaps that of other people. I know I can only speak for myself and perhaps Nellie Diddle, because Nellie and I have spoken about this independently. But I totally got the message of your first video. I got it. I understood where you were coming from. I understand what you were trying to say. I understood what Freethinker 3161 was trying to say in his video yesterday. It's not that I don't get the point. It's that I disagree. It's that I think you're wrong. And the fact that you assume that people who disagree with you don't understand you isn't very thoughtful.
I recognize that by saying my friend could have acted significantly more intelligently than she did implies that she had some say in the eventual outcome of the evening. If I were to say that if she hadn't drank so much, her rape would have been far less likely, then I am inherently placing blame on her, the victim, by saying that she could have avoided being raped. That therefore justifies the rapist's actions, however minutely, and that is wrong. The rapist is the only person to blame for the act of raping. The problem with the logic is this. One of the following must be true. Either rape victims have no control over the act of being raped, or there are actions which can be taken which will significantly reduce the likelihood of being raped. You can't have both no control and some, however minute, control at the same time. If you believe the former, then I can understand the statement that the victim never has any blame. But if it is the latter, you cannot just say that. You just cannot say that.
All right, well, even though you called that a logical fallacy, it is gratifying for me to hear you say that, because at least it means that when Big Dick and Little John did his video response, and when I did my two, and Nellie Diddle did hers, and other people did theirs, those of us who have been saying with a clear, steady voice that no one deserves to be raped, and that no one has responsibility for causing themselves to be raped, you heard, you understood. Basically, like you just said, the victim has no control over being raped. That's my contention, and I'm glad that you seem to understand that contention. You then go on to say that you can't simultaneously believe that it's possible to take precautions against getting raped, and at the same time believe that the victim has no control over being raped. Thoughtful atheist, with respect, that is your cognitive dissonance, all right? You are the one who's actually doing that, because you can't at the one time say this.
No one deserves to be raped, ever.
And on the other hand, say this.
The crime of one person cannot negate the stupidity of another.
Since you made those statements, TA, I assume that you don't see the discrepancy between the two statements. Your last part there, when you said that the crime of one person does not negate the stupidity of another, is incorrect. It makes sense, or it sounds like it makes sense, until you flip it around. You're basically saying that the stupidity of one person can cause the crime of another person. In what way aren't you saying that? If I've just got that wrong, please explain to me what the difference is between what you just said and what I've just said. If the crime of one person cannot be negated by the stupidity of another, then it follows that the stupidity of one person can cause the crime of another person. That's what you're saying. Therefore, you are putting blame on the victim. Therefore, to whatever level of blame you ascribe to the victim, you are saying that in part at least, they deserve it because they caused it. We're talking about cause here. When someone behaves recklessly or irresponsibly, pick whatever word you want. When someone puts themselves at greater risk because they are compromised in whatever way, that does not cause a crime. It might provide an explanation of how it was easier for the criminal to commit the crime, but it does not provide a cause for the crime. I hope that you can see the difference. Okay, so TA, bear with me here for a second because I want to take you on a little thought experiment. Now, I'm going to make a few assumptions about positions that I don't know whether you hold or not. And if I'm wrong, please correct me. But I still think I can make the point whether these are actually positions held by you or not. Because if they're not held by you, I think we would both agree they're held by a lot of people. Okay? First of all, do you consider the United States of America to have any real threat from terrorist attack for over the next, say, 10 years? I'm going to assume, for the sake of this argument, that your answer to that was yes. If you assume that there is a legitimate terrorist threat to the United States in the next 10 years, I would like to ask you in all sincerity, what steps have you taken to prevent yourself from being a victim of terrorism? Now, before anybody jumps up and down going red in the face and says, oh, you can't compare terrorism with rape because they're two completely different kinds of crimes, I mean, duh, I fucking know that. But the point I want to drive home to you here with this analogy is this. You never know when or where or if a terrorist attack is going to take place. You cannot know. And even if you assume that one's going to happen, all the preparation in the world is not going to prevent the attack from happening. Nothing you can do is going to stop the terrorists from doing what they're going to do. Right? Do we agree? That's why I made this analogy. Rape, by its very nature, is unpredictable. A woman never knows where or when or if someone might attack them. So this is why I think that Freethinker 3161 and yourself are missing the point completely. You're talking about engaging in high-risk behavior, but you're ignoring the fact that Nellie Diddle said it in her video plainly, and you seem to have missed it completely. Women are always at risk of being raped. Anytime they're alone, they're at risk of being raped, even in their own home. Even in their own home, TA. There's nothing a woman can do to prevent a rape from happening. Even if she learns karate, the rapist might have a gun. The rapist might have a knife. The rapist might still be able to overpower her physically. So, for you to suggest that you can mitigate against the likelihood of being raped by some level of preparation is, in fact, ridiculous. All right? That's my opinion. If I'm wrong, I'm going to ask you to show me how I'm wrong and why. If you can recognize that there's a threat from terrorism, but there's nothing you can personally do to mitigate against that, why can't you see the same in relation to rape? They're both as unpredictable as each other. All right? I hope that's made the point. This has Got That Funk. Thank you all for putting up with this. This is definitely the last time I'm going to make a specific video about this, at least for the moment. But thanks again for putting up with it. I hope this wasn't too heavy. May all your ups and downs be ups.